Hello, I'm Paul Johnson from the University of Kansas Center for Research Methods and Data Analysis. This is my second presentation on the use of the XServer on the Windows desktop. Today I will show you how to interact with more than one system at a time and how the clipboard allows you to move material among systems. Today I will start the XServer simply by clicking on the Xming icon. Xming will run in the background. There will be no visible effect except in the status bar. You can right click and see that Xming is running and everything is fine. Before we go to the remote systems, let's start a program on the Windows desktop. This is a LaTeX system known as LaTeX, and we'll have a new file. This will just be called My Article, and we'll just move this aside and go about our other work. So the first thing I would like to show you is that when you have started Xming and it's running in the background, the program PuTTY, a terminal program, has options for the secure shell connection. One of them is X11, and we can turn on the option Enable X11 Forwarding so that when we go to a remote system, for example hpc.quant.ku.edu, any programs that try to use the XServer graphical interface on the HPC will be reflected back to my desktop. And I'll log into a compute node. And I'm going to show you that on the remote system I have a text file which we can open with Emacs. And as you can see, these are commands for the Stata program. But I haven't yet installed Stata on HPC, so there's nothing I can do with that file at the moment. But if I move the terminal out of the way, along with Emacs, let's start a new terminal and go to a system where I do have Stata installed. That is in the computer lab, and I use the SSH with X11 forwarding in a configuration that I saved before. Now I will log in. So on that system, I can start Stata with the command xstata, and that puts the graphical interface for Stata on my Windows desktop. So now I'm talking to two systems at once. This is HPC's compute node, rack 2, number 19. I can copy from the clipboard there, and I can paste those Stata commands into the running Stata session. And when I hit enter, everything appears to work fine. So one important message is that you can go and interact with several systems at once and copy material between them on the clipboard. But there's one more really fascinating part of the story that I want to illustrate to you. Let me close Stata just to free up a little bit of my real estate. When I ran the do file, it used a function called outreg2 to create a tex file. And so I can open that in Emacs on the lab system. And what we'll see is a LaTeX table with correct markup. And so we can copy that tex markup. Copy. Now we go back to the Windows desktop where I have LaTeX running. And so I would insert a floating table, my regression And then I'm going to use the tech button to say, here comes some raw tech, and I'm going to paste special. Now don't let it join the lines or else you'll be sorry. Suppose I say plain text. So that just looks like tech markup, which is ugly. But when I say view, it runs it through the LaTeX processor, and I have a beautiful regression table. And of course the prompt to update Adobe, which I don't want to bother with now. So I've run outreg 2 times on the same regression model, and it outputs those 2 runs as 2 columns in this one table. Except for that, everything here is working the way I expected. I'm able to take structured output from the Stata system with outreg 2. It outputs into a text file, and then I can move that tech output into a tech document. The only change that I would think is necessary here is that I need to center the tech output. And in likes, that's quite easy to do. All I need to do is go to the space before the evil red tech and say paragraph settings, center, and I believe that should fix us up. Yes. My contention is that this is a good system, a nice way to manage your workflow, and produce papers with professional looking tables. The outreg 2 procedure has a number of options in that will allow you to change the way these coefficients are printed. If you use the outreg function that I provide for R, you'll see that there are many similarities, although I did not know that they had a procedure called outreg. When I started working on that, I can certainly see similarities between these approaches. And outreg 2 can also produce output for Excel spreadsheets if you are inclined to use those. Thank you very much for watching. Now, before I finish up, I want to remind you that when you're doing work like this on remote systems, you should try to make sure everything is shut down cleanly, because you never know what kind of swap files will be left behind after your work is done. So in each putty session that's open, I'm going to type exit. And I close Emacs, and I type exit to get out of the compute node and exit to get off of HPC. Now I'm safely disconnected from all of the open applications, and I can go to lunch. Have a nice day.